Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj is an eternal associate of Radha Krishna in the transcendental realm of Braja and was sent by them to spread Braja Bhakti, divine love of the residents of Braja in the material world. He lived an ideal life as a self-realized Acharya, preceptor, in the unbroken succession of divine masters of the Brahma Matya Gaudiya Sampradaya. He is a scion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. This is his true family lineage. Srila Gurudeva's birth in a certain location with familial ties is an act of mercy to those people. However, he has no mundane birth. So this is very important. So the appearance of these Mahatmas are not like any, it does not have any karmic reaction or anything to do with their karma. There is no karma involved. They are coming for seva. They are serving the Lord. So na karma bandhanam janma vaishnavanam cha vityate vishnor anucharatvam hi moksham ahur manishinaha. So a Vaishnava does not take birth under the jurisdiction of karmic law. His birth and disappearance are transcendental. The wise have declared that the servants of Vishnu are eternally engaged in the liberated service of the Lord and hence are free from the laws of material nature. So, Sri Guru is transcendental and has a direct relationship with the transcendental world. The duty of a disciple is to glorify the transcendental nature of the Guru Varga. A person cheats himself when he considers Sri Guru in relation with the mundane world or merely considers the spiritual master's apparently ordinary activities, neglecting his spiritual character and ideology. To properly understand Sri Guru, one must observe his supramundane teachings through the eyes of scripture under the guidance of Vaishnavas who are his close followers. Sri Guru does not desire any object in the material world, for he has no relationship with this world other than to spread the glories of the divine couple Radha Krishna. Because Sri Guru is free from attachment to temporary objects, he will not mislead anyone by glorifying the qualities of mundane existence. He does not preach the path of fruitive action, austerity, or dry speculative knowledge. As he is immersed in blissful service to Radha Krishna, his ambrosial speech describing their glories is the tonic that cures a living entity's disease of repeated birth and death. Sri Guru thereby connects soul suffering in material bondage with the supreme whole, fully satisfying their innermost need for a loving relationship. Krishna sent his dearest associates who are expansions of his divine potency into this world to save souls suffering in Maya. If Krishna directly sent his own expansions, it would not be as helpful for the conditioned souls. Hence, he prays to Srimati Radharani. If your powerful expansions go to the material world, they will liberate the entire universe. Please send them. They are more than capable of bringing the lost souls home to me. Actually, if you see, there are a lot of, like in the spiritual dimension, we have Gopas also there, right? And then Manjaris. These Gopas don't preach at all. So that means anyone who is really doing preaching must be a Manjari. Otherwise, preaching is not possible. I mean, in a sense, what I'm trying to say is not everybody who preaches are Manjaris. No. Manjaris are the only one who can really preach the Raganuga. So now, at the dawn of this material creation, Sri Krishna bestowed transcendental knowledge and potency of true Brahma, the universal architect. Empowered by the divine potency, the Brahma Matva Gaudiya disciplic succession descends in an unbroken current of pure devotion from Sri Brahma to Sri Narada, Sri Vedavyasa, Sri Matwacharya, Sri Padmanabha, Sri Narahari, Sri Matwa, Sri Akshobhya, Sri Jayadirtha, Sri Jnanasindhu, Sri Dayanidhi, Sri Vidyanidhi, Sri Rajendra, Sri Jayadharma, Sri Purushottama Tirtha, Sri Brahmani Tirtha, Sri Vyasa Tirtha, Sri Lakshmipadi Tirtha, Madhavendra Puri, and Sri Ishvara Puri, as well as Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya. So this is the lineage. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought about Sri Ishvara Puri's great fortune by accepting initiation from him. From Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the lineage descended through Sri Swarupa Damodara and the 6 Goswamis. Sri Rupa Goswami, Rupa Sanatana, Bhatta Raghunatha, Sri Jiva Gopala, Bhatta Raghunatha Dasa Goswamis, all those Goswamis. From them, it came to Sri Krishna Dasa Kaviraja Goswami, Sri Narottama Das Thakura, Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura, Sri Baladeva Vidyabhushana, and Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaja, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura, Sri Gaura Kishore Das Babaji, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura Prabhupada, who flooded the world with the current of pure love, and it was practiced and taught by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Amongst Prabhupada, Saraswati Thakura's many beloved disciples, 2 of the foremost are Srila Bhakti Pranjana Kesava Goswami Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj. The foremost disciples of Srila Bhakti Pranjana Kesava Goswami Maharaj are Srila Bhakti Vedanta Vamana Goswami Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. So now we are getting into the birth of Srila Gurudeva. In the Brahmana, that is priestly caste, village of Tiwaripur, situated in the Buxar district of Bihar, India, near the banks of the Holy Ganga, the liberated soul Sri Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, renowned as Srila Gurudeva and Bhaktabhandav. Bhaktabhandav means the friend of all devotees, appeared on this earth in the Vaishnava Brahmana family of Pandita Baleswaranatha Tiwari and Sri Yuta Lakshmi Devi. So the Tiwaris were initiated in the Ramanuja Sampradaya and are descendants of the Sandilya Gotra, that is a Brahmana lineage. They faithfully engaged in Bhakti Yoga, that's a devotion service which connects one to God, and as religious householders, they regularly hosted traveling, that is sadhus, holy men. Many such sadhus visit Tiwaripura in the months of January and February, where they dwell on the banks of the Ganga to worship God and practice austerities. In the early morning, these saintly people bathe in the Ganges and absorb themselves in meditation, kirtana, devotional songs, hearing harikatha, holy discourses, and on occasion perform fire ceremonies as well. Since devotees experience profound elation during discourses on the glories of God, every evening the sadhus, local brahmanas, and devout people of nearby village gathered to perform kirtana and to hear scriptural discourses at the home of Pandita Baleshwaranatha and Gurudeva's grandfather, Sriman Dhyana Chandra Tiwari, who were respected Vaishnava scholars. When prominent Vaishnavas or sadhus were present, Pandita Tiwari requested them to speak to the assembled guests. On the evening of the new moon, in the late winter of 1920, on the holy day of Mauni Amavasya, this is very important to remember. On the holy day of Mauni Amavasya, That was a day when Lord Shiva awoke from his meditation. Meditation. So that time, a revered Vaishnava sadhu arrived at the Diwari's home, where hundreds of people were assembled to hear Harikatha. Sriman Dhyana Chandra invited the sadhu to address the crowd. I will speak Harikatha, the sadhu announced, on the condition that after hearing my words, everyone would endeavor to follow my advice. Eager to hear his discourse, the guest agreed, and the sadhu began to glorifying the devotees of the Lord. Whenever one glorifies Lord Rama, Hanuman comes to listen. When one praises Krishna, great souls like Prahalad, Bhishmadev, and Janaka are present. Wherever Rama's pastimes are narrated, Hanuman sits in the back of the audience and leaves last. One day, Tulasidasa went to hear Rama Katha and to receive Hanuman's audience. So he wanted to see Hanuman as well. He desired to see Lord Ramachandra and was informed this would only be possible by first attaining the shelter of Hanuman. Gradually, as everyone began to leave, after the Harikatha, he recognized Hanuman, who was sitting in the back, disguised as an old man. Catching hold of Hanuman's feet, Tulasidasa took Hanuman's foot dust and begged for mercy. By Hanuman's blessings, Tulasidasa later saw Lord Rama and received his mercy. So this Tulasi Ramayana is so wonderful and very famous. The sadhu continued, in this life, it is not possible to directly meet Bhagavan. But he is very kind and sends his dear associates to this world. One must pray like this, O Lord, how may I develop a relationship with your associates? How will they become my dear friends and guidance? My guardians. Relationships with saintly devotees will connect us with God. But how can one understand who is truly God's devotee? If one sincerely prays, God will grant the spiritual vision and knowledge to be able to recognize saintly personalities. Just as Srila Sukadeva Goswami tirelessly recited the Srimad Bhagavatam, the sadhu spoke the glories of saintly devotees throughout the evening and late into night. Meanwhile, the congregation listened with rapt attention, just as Parikshit Maharaj and the assembled sages once had. The sadhu told the story of the origin and importance of Mauni Amavasya. The sadhu said, in ancient times, after Sati Devi burned herself at the sacrificial arena of her father, Daksha, because her husband Shiva was disrespected, Lord Shiva thought that there was no longer anyone qualified and eager to hear the glories of Lord Hari. Only Sati Devi had been eager to hear such Harikatha. Therefore, Lord Shiva considered her his dear friend. After Sati Devi left her body, Lord Shiva abandoned himself fully in Samadhi. Lord Shiva absorbed himself fully in Samadhi. Yeah, that is a profound state of meditative trance. Lord Shiva's duty is to relieve the burden of the universe by purifying the wicked desires and sins of living entities immersed in the darkness of ignorance. This task can only be accomplished by Harikatha and Harikirtana, but Shiva was left to himself and thus sat in trance. Without the ambrosial nectar of Harikatha, the entire universe became covered in darkness. Inauspiciousness filled the world, and all religious ceremonies subsided. No one performed bhakti yoga, nor would anyone can speak the name of Vishnu. Eventually, Sati reincarnated as Parvati in the Himalayas. The demigod prayed to Lord Shiva to accept Parvati as his wife and return to his universal duties, but he remained deep in trance. Finally, Sri Vishnu and Brahma arrived to break Lord Shiva's trance. They requested him, "Oh Bholanatha, someone has come to hear Harikatha. Accept Parvati as your companion and renew your universal responsibilities." The sadhu concluded, Mauni Amavasya is the day Lord Shiva awoke from his trance by the intervention of Lord Vishnu and Brahma. Lord Shiva broke his silence to recite the glories of God. Taking tulasi leaves and Ganga water, he promised, "I will accept Parvati after 1 month." 1 month later, when the 14th day of the dark moon arrived, Lord Shiva accepted Parvati as as his wife. That day is known as Sivaratri. When the sadhu finished speaking, Pandita Tiwari invited him to stay at his home. Pandita Tiwari and Lakshmi Devi were apprehensive to beget offspring. Their first child had died in infancy, causing them great sadness. And they knew that their spiritual lives would be disturbed if an ordinary soul entered their lives. Pandita Tiwari and Lakshmi Devi humbly asked the sadhu, "What should we do? Our relatives are pressuring us to have children. But we fear that if an ordinary soul comes to our home, we will become entangled in worldly life." The sadhu advised them, "When Shivaratri comes, bathe before sunrise in the Ganga and then return and worship Lord Shiva. Shiva is the greatest devotee of Vishnu and has excellent relation with the Supreme Lord. If he is satisfied with your worship and prayer, he will petition God to have a pure devotee born in your home." Sadhu continued, "You should pray daily to Sri Krishna while reciting the Holy Gita, which is the treasure chest of Krishna's merciful advice and teachings. Krishna is present wherever the Gita is honored, and wherever Krishna is present, so are his devotees, just as a king is never without his entourage. Right? You should also serve all devotees who visit your village, for it is the easiest means to please Krishna." Pandita Tiwari and Lakshmi Devi faithfully accepted the sadhu's instructions, and they vowed to serve the devotees and to regularly recite the Holy Gita. They prayed to Sri Krishna for the association of his pure devotees while meditating daily on a particular verse that especially attracted their hearts. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam ye vaisyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Offer your mind to me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer obeisance unto me. In this way, you will certainly come to me. I promise you this truthfully because you are very dear to me. So Srila Gurudeva's parents went to the Ganga every day with a Sankirtana party. After bathing, they returned home, applied tilaka on their bodies and worshipped the Lord. On the day of Shivaratri, in the early spring, Pandita Tiwari and Lakshmi Devi served Bhagavan throughout the day and stayed awake all night to worship Lord Shiva. They prayed to Lord Shiva that they would be blessed with a son who was a great devotee of Krishna. On Shivaratri, the custom is to stay awake and perform worship 4 times. From 6 to 9 in the evening, then 9 to 12, then 12 to 3, and finally 3 to 6 in the morning. So pleased by such worship, Lord Shiva will fulfill all desires of the worshipper. Pandita Tiwari and Lakshmi Devi sat in the Shiva temple and recited the Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana. Next, they performed a fire ceremony and then bathed the Shivalinga. They prayed to Shiva, "By your mercy, may the negativity of a great devotee of Bhagavan Krishna take place." Sorry, what is it? No, by your mercy, may the nativity of a great devotee of Bhagavan Krishna take place in our family. They thought, many devotees of Sri Rama are in our family. Now it would be a great blessing upon us if a devotee of Sri Krishna appears. Having a son, who has pure love for Krishna would enable us to always hear Krishna's glories in his saintly company. After Pandita Tiwari and Lakshmi Devi concluded their prayers and worship in the early morning, they dozed off and had a vision. Thousands of effulgent devotees were singing the holy names of the Lord while dancing in ecstasy. They had glowing golden complexions and long arms, which they held high in the air as they danced along. As they approached the Diwari's home, Panditaji and Lakshmi Devi gazed at the divine personalities and thought, we usually have Kirtana here in the evening. How is it that this Kirtana is happening in the morning? As the congregation approached the house, the dancing and singing increased in fervor. One of the divine beings came forward and with a sweet smile on his face, entered the hearts of Pandita Tiwari and Lakshmi Devi. They awoke suddenly, imbued with joy and attraction towards the divine being they had just envisioned. From that day onwards, Pandita Tiwari and Lakshmi Devi always remembered the personality in their dreams. Also, you have to note that both of them saw the same vision, exactly the same vision. And in the dancing party, which is basically Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Nama Sankirtan party, and one of the associates just came and then entered into the hearts of Tiwari and Lakshmi Devi. In due course, Lakshmi Devi prepared a suitable maternity room in preparation of childbirth. On February 6, 1921, the Tiwari's family guru, a Brahmana named Pandita Mishra, who was initiated in the Ramanuja Sampradaya, visited their home from his village of Majaritya Gaon. Pandita Tiwari welcomed his guru, offered obeisance, gave him a seat, and washed his feet. After speaking together for some time, Panditaji offered his guru some prasadam and a place to sit for the night. In the early morning, Lakshmi Devi went into labor. She rushed to the household maternity room and with little pain or difficulty gave birth to a beautiful boy. It was a few minutes past 4 in the morning. On Mauni Amavasya, February 7, on the junction between the auspicious Vedic months of Pushya and Magha. The family guru had already awoken and gone to the Ganga. Upon returning, he heard a boy had just been born and went immediately to bless the infant. Many sadhus were residing at the Tiwari's household, observing vows of silence on the day Lord Shiva was petitioned to arise from his meditation. But when they caught sight of the effulgent baby boy, they gathered and began to spontaneously sing in loud voices, Sriman Narayan, Narayan, Hari Hari, Sriman Narayan, Narayan, Hari Hari. The sweet sound of the holy names filled the atmosphere in affectionate welcome of Sri Hari's beloved devotee. The family guru Pandita Mishra examined the infant and saw he had remarkable blue eyes, a golden complexion, and a wide forehead adorned with a distinct mark of tilaka, the sign of a devotee of Lord Vishnu. The auspicious signs of a jug, lotus, flag, and Urtva Rekha, a line identifying an exalted soul, were on the boy's feet. And there were 10 chakras on his fingertips. Observing all these markings, Pandita Mishra told Pandita Tiwari, you are extremely fortunate. This boy is not from your small village. He is a great devotee of God. I will draw up his birth chart immediately. Upon the birth of the boy, Panditaji and Lakshmi Devi realized their son must be the same personality who had previously visited their dream. That vision they had. They rejoiced. Now a saint has appeared in our home. All the guests were pleased and said they had never seen such an amazing boy. After compiling the chart, Pandita Mishra discussed with the Tiwaris what to name their child. They decided to give him the name Sriman Narayan. Since their son was born on Mauniya in Amavasya, the Tiwari felt that Shiva had blessed them with a special child. His grandmother, Dulari Devi, said, "Oh, he is peaceful and does not cry. So we will give him the nickname Bolanada." Bolanada is the name of Lord Shiva, meaning the simple-hearted Lord. Pandita Mishra then explained to Panditaji and Lakshmi Devi, "Your son has an auspicious chart. It shows that he will be Chakravarti Maharaja." Chakra denotes a wheel and Varta means is hub. Therefore, Chakravarti means one whom society will revolve around him. And since he has conquered all directions, he is uncommonly distinguished. Pandita Mishra concluded to Pandita Tiwari and Lakshmi Devi, "Your son will travel the world to liberate souls from the bondage of Maya by leading them on the path of bhakti." So now we are getting into the indication of devotion. It is said that in the Rama Charitamanasa by Tulasidasa is written as Honahara Viravanke Hote Hain. It is a Hindi actually. As the leaves of a sapling indicate how tall and beautiful a tree will become, one's character in childhood sheds light upon his future before he could even roll over Sriman Narayan. So henceforth, of course, we are going to refer as Gurudev. Srila Gurudev or Gurudeva would lie in his mother's arms and listen to recitation of Ramayana. When he was 6 months old, he would merrily ride on the shoulders of his father or grandfather to religious discourses. If they tried to leave before the lectures had finished, he cried loudly until they decided to stay. As a child, Srila Gurudev sat in rapt attention for the entire duration of Harikatha and never showed signs of hunger or thirst. When he appeared amongst the congregation, the atmosphere became surcharged by his presence, and anyone who caught sight of him was immediately filled with jubilation. When Srila Gurudev was about 7 months, his parents noticed that if they tried to bathe him with ordinary water, the gentle child would whimper and refuse to touch it. However, when they bathed him in water collected from the nearby Ganga, he would be satisfied and very joyous. He was exceedingly stubborn and would not eat a morsel, no matter how tempting, unless it was prasada, offered to the deities. And only after the family gave him charanamrita from their morning worship of Lakshmi Narayana and Salagrama, then he will take anything. As soon as his son learned to talk, Pandita Tiwari would place him on his lap and teach him verses of Bhagavad Gita, just as a young boy learns the alphabet from a teacher. He lovingly advised his son, "By memorizing the Gita, Krishna will be seated within your heart." Krishna's advice is his Mahaprasad, great mercy. One who wants to make his life successful will read the Bhagavad Gita and preserve the verses in his mind. Wherever there is respect for Krishna and his holy speech, there will be no place for misery, sickness, or illusion. Carefully keep these verses in your heart and thus protect our family line. So, under the tutelage of his father, Srila Gurudeva easily memorized verses of the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. After studying the Gita at dawn, Gurudeva walked with his father to the Ganga, where they worshipped her with incense a ghee-wick lamp, and flowers. They then bathed and offered oblations to their forefathers. While walking to and fro, they recited the Bhagavad Gita. At home, Gurudeva's mother gave him Charanamrita and fed him prasada from the family deities, Sri Lakshmi Narayana. Srila Gurudeva began school when he was 5. The local children were naturally drawn to him and they eagerly assembled at his house to accompany him to school. Even boys of neighboring villages came and joined him. Gurudeva's parents gave the boys Charanamrita and Prasadam, and then Gurudeva led them to school in the neighboring village of Dalsagara, about 9 kilometers from his home. The pathway went through a wooded area scattered with fields that became flooded and difficult to cross in the rainy season. The simple elementary school in Dalsagara had one room as the teacher's office and a small shed where equipment was kept. There was nothing else. Students gathered for their classes under a large tree. Gurudeva's father gave him a peacock feather quill and homemade ink to write with, because those days, I still remember, they really take the feather from the peacock or even from the what is that, the boy hen, what is that thing called? Yeah, they also they can use. So basically they really, in the ink they really deep, and then they will actually, like a chisel, they really cut it and then dip it. It will just come in, and then they start writing. Because I remember I have used long ago. Okay, so that was what. So now students gathered for their classes under a large tree. So students, then Gurudev's father gave him a peacock feather quill and homemade ink to write with. Pens were rare in those days, and if a child had one, it indicated he was from an affluent family. When the teacher arrived, he would notice that Gurudeva had been leading the boys in recitation of scripture. Why aren't you properly studying your actual lessons? The teacher said. What will you learn merely by reciting the Ramayana? Then Gurudeva replied, Rama will give us good intelligence, and then the lessons will be easy to remember. How can we learn anything from you? Because you are 40 or 50 years old, and we are merely 5 years old boys. How can we understand your lectures? We cannot equal to you, but with the help of Rama, we will understand your lessons. So then the teacher replied, yes, Rama will help you. And then a few moments later, he said, I will recite the verses together with you, and then perhaps you will understand what I teach. See, now look at here. Now the teacher is also attracted by Gurudev's sayings. Then he said, I will recite the verses together with you, and then perhaps you will understand what I teach, he said. From then on, every morning, before lessons began, the teacher and students recited a chapter of the Ramayana and then a chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. During recess, Gurudeva recited verses by heart, naturally inspiring the other children to join along. The school was transformed by Gurudeva's influence. The boys respected and followed him as a leader, and he was as soon made as class monitor. When school was finished for the day, the boys buoyantly accompanied Gurudev's home. Once home, Gurudeva watched his father and mother serve their deities and attended evening arati with incense, ghee-wick lamp, water, cloth, flowers, and fan. Brahminical custom designates that no one is allowed to worship or cook for the deity without formal initiation. Hence, Srila Gurudeva watched his parents worship the Lord. Afterwards, he listened to his father speak Harikatha to the villagers. He then partook of the deity's prasadam and rested for the night. As time went by, Diwari's home was visited by an increasing number of people. It was often noted this house was mystic power. This house has mystic power. By doing kirtana here, one experiences profound sweetness. Without invitation, many people would visit. bearing gifts like rice, wheat, fruits, or flowers, all the while feeling they had entered a temple of God. We are householders, Gurudeva's parents said. Taking donations from others is not appropriate for us. Srila Gurudeva said to his parents, it is good everyone desires to serve Bhagavan. Please accept their gifts and offer Bhoga to Lakshmi Narayana. Then give everyone Mahaprasada. His father and grandfather began arranging the daily distribution of Mahaprasad to many people. Gurudeva was pleased to see that sadhus were given prasad and a place to stay at his home. In the morning, he observed that many deer, parrots, squirrels, pigeons, and other animals would gather outside his house, eat some grass or grains, and then leave. Intrigued, he ran behind them, asking, "Where are you going? Why are you leaving?" He asked his grandfather, "Why do the animals come for such a short time and then leave?" "Oh, they go over wherever they are allowed. They are allowed and stay there with their friends and family." Dhyana Chandra Diwari, his actually grandfather, replied. In the evenings, when the villagers and guests would gather at the Diwari's house to hear Panditaji's discourses, Gurudeva would also sit and listen. He was taught from a young age to offer respect to all Vaishnavas and Brahmanas. In reciprocation, they affectionately blessed him to be successful in life. Being attracted to Gurudeva, villagers would congregate around him and became good-natured and devout in his company. Such is the power of saintly persons. The villagers returned to their homes at the conclusion of the evening program. One day, Srila Gurudeva asked his grandfather, "Why don't people stay here with us?" Oh, it is not possible for them to always stay. His grandfather patiently explained. "Why do they go?" Gurudeva asked. "They return to their families at home," his grandfather said, "where their hearts are bound by love. But don't they like us? They do. But this is the nature of God's creation. People have the most affection for those whom they have direct relationship with." "Who is God?" Gurudeva asked. "Rama is God. If we have love for Rama, will he ever leave us? Will we ever leave him?" Hanumanji had so much love for Rama, therefore Rama never left him and he never left Rama. "I want to have love for Rama like Hanuman," Gurudeva said. If I have real love for Rama, then he will come and never leave me. Everyone else who comes eventually leaves. All your family is here with you, his grandfather said. Why are you worrying about the others? But everyone lives and lives separately. See, Gurudev wants everybody together. From a young age, Gurudev's attachment for God was quite apparent. He asked his parents questions like, how can we develop a loving relationship with Bhagavan so that he will never leave us? Understanding the fleeting nature of worldly relationships, Gurudeva vowed, one day I will teach everyone the meaning of real love, pure love. The pure love is unavailable in this world. People search for love in all beings and objects, but they cannot find lasting love because everything here is temporary. Therefore, they remain unsatisfied. He heard from his father that those who have love for God naturally love all beings. Yet, those who have no love for God are cruel and hard-hearted. With this barometer, he examined the character of whomever he met, thinking, when will I find a pure devotee of Bhagavan? In search of such devotees, Gurudeva attended discourses on the Ramayana, Srimad Bhagavatam, and other scriptures. Lord Rama is adorned by the residents of Tiwaripura, and day-long recitation of his pastimes would often take place in the local temple, where deities of Rama, Sita, Lakshmana, as well as Radha Krishna and Balagopala are worshipped on the main altar. A deity of Hanuman and Shivalinga are also worshipped in the temple compound. Gurudeva sometimes went to the temple in the morning and listened to the Brahmana priests recite Vedic mantras. and then stayed for recitations of the Ramayana. Other notable places where religious programs are held in Divaripura or Vamanadeva's temple and the ashrams of Narada Rishi, Vashishta and Gautama Rishi. During Ramanavami, the residents of Divaripura would recite Tulasidasa's account of Lord Rama all day and night, all the while fasting without a drop of water. Gurudeva wept incessantly upon hearing the woeful pastimes of Lord Rama, such as when King Dasarada was separated from his beloved exiled son and cried, Ha Rama, Ha Rama, Ha Rama, before giving up his life. When hearing how Bharata came to the forest to bring back his elder brother, Gurudeva exclaimed, How great is the love of Bharata! Srila Gurudeva later asked his grandfather, Dhyanachandra Tiwari, tell me, why do we fast and recite the entire Ramayana on Rama's day? If we do so, he says, if we do so, his grandfather replied, Rama will come and then be blessed with us. This is his puja, worship. Physical articles are not the only means to serve Bhagavan. If one doesn't remember and embrace Rama's glories in his heart, Rama himself will not enter the heart. Thus one's consciousness will remain impure. Then why won't we read these daily then? Gurudeva asked. If we do daily, Rama will always stay with us. Oh, but it is good to read every day, but it is so long. There is no time. Why is there no time? Gurudeva asked. Isn't it all one's time and life is supposed to be meant for Rama? This is correct, his grandfather said. But 24 hours are required to recite the entire epic. You should memorize Tulasidasa's Sundarakanda. This is good for you and will not take such a long time. Srila Gurudeva quickly memorized the Sundarakanda and recited it along with the verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Srila Gurudeva remembered the heroic tales of Lord Rama throughout the day and night. Throughout the day and night, he dreamed of pastimes such as Rama battling against Ravana. Early one morning, he had a vision of Lord Rama along with Sita Devi, Lakshmana and Hanuman descending from the sky, seated upon a divine swan. He ran forward and prostrated himself before Rama's feet. After Lord Rama and Sita Devi blessed their beloved devotee, they ascended, leaving Gurudeva trembling with a sense of separation. So here we will stop.